In the ancient world, where empires clashed and legends were forged in the crucible of battle, one name echoed with a terrifying resonance across the arid lands of Canaan: Goliath of Gath. His story isn't just about a giant, it's a tale of how immense power, left unchecked by humility, can become the very architect of its own downfall. Goliath's origins are shrouded in mystery, but most accounts trace his lineage back to the Anakim, a race of giants spoken of in ancient texts.
Ho, ho, ho!
From a young age, it was clear he was different. While other boys played, Goliath grew and grew. By the time he was a man, he was a spectacle of nature, a mountain of muscle and bone towering over everyone he met. Ancient sources describe him as being over 9 feet tall. Imagine that for a moment. In an era where the average man was significantly shorter than today, Goliath would have seemed like a demigod walking among mortals. His sheer size was a weapon in itself. But it was his skill in combat that truly set him apart.
Ho, ho, ho!
The Philistines, a powerful seafaring people often at odds with the Israelites, saw his potential immediately. They recruited him, trained him, and armed him. And what arms they were! His coat of mail alone weighed over 100 pounds. His spear was like a weaver's beam, its iron point weighing more than a modern-day bowling ball. His helmet was bronze, his shield so large it required its own carrier. When Goliath marched onto a battlefield, he wasn't just a soldier. He was a walking siege engine, a one-man army.
Ho, ho, ho!
For years, Goliath was the Philistines' ultimate weapon. His presence alone could break an enemy's spirit before a single sword was drawn. He became a champion, a symbol of Philistine might. In the brutal tradition of single combat, where armies would send forth their best warrior to decide a battle and avoid mass casualties, Goliath was undefeated. He would stride out between the armies, his voice a booming thunder that shook the very ground, challenging any man to face him.
Ho, ho, ho!
None dared. His reputation preceded him, a wave of fear that washed over his enemies, drowning their courage. He was more than a warrior. He had become a legend, a living embodiment of invincibility. And with every victory, with every unchallenged day, his pride swelled, matching his colossal frame. This brings us to the Valley of Elah, a stretch of land that would become the stage for one of history's most iconic showdowns. For 40 days, the Philistine and Israelite armies faced each other, locked in a tense stalemate.
Ho, ho, ho!
And for 40 days, morning and evening, Goliath repeated his ritual. He would step out clad in his terrifying armor and mock the Israelites and their God. "Why have you come out to line up for battle?" He would roar. "Am I not a Philistine, and are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects, but if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us." It was a psychological war, and Goliath was winning decisively.
Ho, ho, ho!
The Israelite army, including their king Saul, was paralyzed with fear. Their morale was shattered. Goliath's arrogance was at its peak. He saw only a cowering, frightened enemy. He saw his own strength, his own armor, his own undefeated record. He believed himself to be the master of his own destiny, the ultimate power in any conflict. What he couldn't see, what his pride blinded him to, was that the nature of power was about to change. Enter David. Not a soldier, but a shepherd boy.
Ho, ho, ho!
The youngest of 8 sons, sent by his father to bring supplies to his older brothers on the front lines. When David arrived at the camp, he didn't hear the sounds of a confident army preparing for victory. He heard whispers of fear, and he heard the thunderous, mocking voice of Goliath. But David heard something different in Goliath's taunts. Where others heard the voice of an invincible giant, David heard blasphemy against his God. His reaction wasn't fear, it was righteous anger.
Ho, ho, ho!
Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? He asked. The soldiers around him were astonished. This boy, with no armor and no military training, was speaking with more courage than any seasoned warrior in the camp. His words eventually reached King Saul, who summoned him. Saul, a tall and imposing man himself, looked at the young shepherd and saw only his youth. He tried to dissuade him, offering his own armor. David tried it on, but it was too big, too cumbersome. It wasn't his.
Ho, ho, ho!
He knew his own strengths, and they weren't found in bronze and iron. I cannot go in these, David said, for I am not used to them. He took them off. Instead, he walked to a nearby stream and chose 5 smooth stones. His weapon, a simple sling. In the hands of a shepherd who had spent years protecting his flock from lions and bears, a sling was a precision instrument of deadly force. When Goliath saw David approaching, he was insulted. A boy with a staff and a sling.
Ho, ho, ho!
Am I a dog, that you come to me with sticks? He bellowed, cursing David by his gods. Come here, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals. Goliath's perception was locked into a conventional view of warfare. Strength was measured in size, power in the weight of your armor and the length of your spear. He saw a boy and sticks. He failed to see a skilled marksman with a projectile weapon. He saw an easy victory, a joke.
Ho, ho, ho!
David's reply has echoed through millennia, a timeless declaration of faith and a redefinition of strength. You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against me in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel.
Ho, ho, ho!
All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands. What Goliath saw as weakness, David's lack of armor, his simple weapon, his youth, was actually his greatest advantage. He was fast, agile, and unburdened. As Goliath lumbered forward, confident in his inevitable victory, David ran to meet him.
Ho, ho, ho!
Before the giant could even get within striking distance with his massive spear, David placed a stone in his sling, took aim, and let it fly. The stone whizzed through the air, a small, swift messenger of fate. It struck Goliath squarely on the forehead, the one small area unprotected by his bronze helmet. The stone sank into his skull. The giant, the invincible champion, the symbol of Philistine might, staggered and fell face down on the ground. The fall was not just physical, it was symbolic.
Ho, ho, ho!
It was the fall of pride, the fall of arrogance, the fall of relying solely on one's own perceived strength. The Philistine army, who had placed all their faith in their champion, watched in stunned silence. When they saw their hero fall, their courage dissolved. They turned and fled, pursued by the now roaring Israelite army. The story of Goliath is a powerful lesson. His rise was fueled by his physical prowess, but his fall was orchestrated by his own hubris.
Ho, ho, ho!
He became so confident in his own strength that he could imagine a threat coming from an unexpected source. He underestimated his opponent because David didn't fit his definition of a warrior. Goliath's greatest weakness wasn't a gap in his armor. It was the blindness of his pride. He was a giant defeated not by a bigger giant, but by a different kind of power altogether, the power of faith, ingenuity, and the courage to challenge convention.
Ho, ho, ho!
His story serves as a timeless reminder that true strength isn't always what it appears to be, and that sometimes the biggest giants are the ones we create in our own minds. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the legends that shaped our world. See you next time.
Ho, ho, ho!